Mary Sue is probably one of the most annoying characters in Youjo Senki, by design. I mean, she's literally a Mary Sue character. She's overpowered, protected by plot armor, a character who keeps surviving situations she has absolutely no business surviving. The first time you watch Youjo Senki, Mary doesn't even feel like a character. She kinda feels like a plot device, even though she has a super valid reason for all her crash outs. Every time Tanya seems to have everything under control, Mary appears. Every time logic says the fight should be over, Mary keeps getting back up. And eventually, you start asking yourself, why does this character even exist? See, Mary was never written to be another tactical genius. She was never written to outsmart Tanya. She wasn't even written to play by the same rules. Mary isn't Tanya's rival. She's Being X's final argument. Because think about Being X for a second. Ever since the very first episode, he's been trying to make Tanya believe. He reincarnates her into a world where magic exists, he forces her to use an orb that only reaches its full potential through prayer, and he puts miracle after miracle directly in front of her. And every single time, Tanya gives him the exact same answer. No. Not because she doesn't see the miracles, she does. She just refuses to accept what they mean. To Tanya, they're not proof of a higher power, they're variables, unexpected obstacles, problems to solve. Being X can force Tanya to pray, he can force her into impossible situations, he can even force her to rely on miracles just to survive. But there's one thing he can't force, and that's belief. And I think for Being X, that's the moment everything changes, because after repeatedly failing to convince Tanya, Being X stops trying to change her. Instead, he looks for someone else, someone who already believes, someone who already has faith, someone who already has a reason to hate Tanya. Mary Sue. And this is where small misunderstandings can get in the way. Some people think that Being X manufactured her from the ground up, but that's not the case. Being X didn't create Mary's hatred, he weaponized it. Mary already believed in God long before Being X ever appeared. She already loved her father, and after Tanya killed Ensign Sue during the battle over the Rhine, she already had every reason in the world to want revenge. That grief wasn't manufactured, it was real. Being X simply found someone whose pain already pointed directly at Tanya, and gave that pain enough power to make Tanya pay attention. That's what makes Mary Sue so different from every other opponent Tanya has faced. Because normally, Tanya kind of wins long before the fighting actually starts. Not because she's that much stronger, but because she understands incentives. A soldier wants to survive, an officer wants promotion, a commander wants victory, and a nation wants security. Figure out what someone wants, and you can usually predict what they'll do next. That's how Tanya sees war, not as chaos, but as a system, a very wasteful system. One giant equation. Understand the variables and you can predict the outcome. And that's exactly why Mary becomes such a nightmare for Tanya, because Mary doesn't have normal incentives anymore. After her father's death, Mary stops fighting for victory, she stops fighting for survival, she even stops fighting for military success. She fights for revenge. And revenge is one of the worst military motivations imaginable. It makes you impatient, emotional, it makes you ignore orders, or it makes you throw away advantages. Under normal circumstances, that should make her easier to defeat, at least for someone like Tanya. Because someone emotional is predictable, someone blinded by revenge makes mistakes, someone obsessed can be manipulated. Tanya would exploit every single one of those weaknesses. But these aren't normal circumstances, because Mary isn't fighting alone, she's fighting with Being X standing right behind her. And that is the main problem. Being X doesn't reward Mary's strategy, he doesn't reward her intelligence, he doesn't even reward her tactics, which aren't there. He rewards her faith. Mary doesn't become terrifying because she trained harder than everyone else. She becomes terrifying because Being X decides her conviction is worth empowering. Every time Mary should reach her limit, something pushes her further. Every time logic says she should lose, she finds a way to keep going. And from Mary's perspective, that's exactly what it looks like. Proof. Confirmation. God hasn't abandoned her, God is with her. While Tanya sees miracles as problems, Mary sees them as answers. And that's what changes everything, because for the first time in the series, Tanya runs into an opponent she can't fully reduce to logic. She keeps trying to solve Mary like she's another equation, and Mary doesn't behave like one. She behaves like someone who genuinely believes God is on her side, and that is an incredibly difficult thing to fight, because Tanya's greatest weapon has always been prediction. She looks for patterns, weaknesses, incentives, something she can exploit, and she's very smart and highly efficient. But what incentives do you exploit when someone is willing to die for what they believe? And that's exactly why Being X chose her. She's the first person Tanya can't fully understand. And the whole plot armor thing, it's valid. I can't lie, it's a very valid thing. Because from Tanya's perspective, that's exactly what she looks like. An opponent who keeps surviving situations she logically shouldn't. But the difference is, this isn't the story secretly protecting Mary. It's being X. Mary feels unfair because she is unfair. She's divine intervention made human. She's what happens when a god, or someone who thinks he's a god, decides one grieving soldier is worth empowering. If Mary suddenly became calm, cold, and perfectly tactical, she'd just become Tanya with different hair. And that's not the story Youjo Senki is trying to tell. This isn't a battle between two military geniuses, it's a battle between two completely different ways of looking at the world. Tanya believes every problem has a logical solution, and Mary believes some things are bigger than logic. Tanya survives because she understands the system, while Mary survives because someone keeps breaking it. And I think that's what makes their rivalry so fascinating. Not because either one proves the other wrong, but because neither of them can truly understand the other. Tanya looks at Mary and sees an irrational soldier throwing her life away. Mary looks at Tanya and sees, well, a demon. I can't make it prettier than that. Neither of them is fighting the battle the other thinks they're fighting. Because Mary doesn't realize she's being used. She genuinely believes she's honoring her father. She genuinely believes she's carrying out God's will. She genuinely believes she's fighting for justice. But from being X's perspective, Mary is another move on the board. A weapon. A final attempt to do what miracles, punishment and suffering never could. Break Tanya. And despite everything, he still can't. And that's why I don't think Mary is the answer. She's the question. The same question Being X has been asking Tanya since the very first episode. Can reason explain everything? Can every miracle be dismissed as another variable? Can faith ever defeat logic? Being X puts all of those questions into one person, Mary Sue. And Tanya's answer never changes. She refuses to believe. So I honestly think Mary Sue is one of the most annoying but truly interesting characters in Youjo Senki. She's frustrating, she's unfair, she's emotional, she's reckless. But that was always the point. She was never supposed to beat Tanya at her own game. She was supposed to force Tanya into a game she never wanted to play. Because Mary isn't just Tanya's rival, she's Being X's final argument. And despite creating the perfect opponent, Being X still can't get the one thing he actually wants. Tanya's fate. So let me ask you this. Do you think Mary Sue's character has a deeper meaning, or do you think she's just an overpowered, frustrating character? I'm very curious how you guys feel Mary Sue. Let me know down below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, check out my other Youjo Senki videos on my channel. And I'm also curious, which character do you want me to break down, or which anime do you want me to focus on next? Currently, I'm mainly focusing on Frieren and Youjo Senki, but I was actually thinking of making a video on Full Metal Alchemist or on Black Lagoon, maybe even Cowboy Bebop, but let me know down below. Make sure to comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.